Welcome to our fourth inner gardening workshop. So just for those of you who've only just joined our inner gardening club, these introductory sessions, they are about offering you some simple tools that can be used in day-to-day life to help you create a firm inner ground out of your own efforts. And I hope that these tools will empower you to feel that you can direct your life from within and become more free in your responses to your life and to your circumstances. And it's really about awakening my heart center, which is a center for wisdom, which is like an inner sun that can bring a guiding light and warmth into my thoughts, into my feelings, and into all my actions. So, working with these tools, I can gradually build an inner sanctuary, or maybe like a little inner summer house that can be a place of stillness and peace, where I can find respite and strength for my life. And today's workshop is about working from hope. And this was the heading on the front of a national newspaper last week that jumped out at me, and I felt it was really apt to include this in our inner gardening tasks. And I guess without hope we would never even have started gardening, and we probably wouldn't be here together. So I thought it feels important to look at hope and the place it has got in our inner gardening work. I also realized that it feels incomplete to speak of hope without mentioning the ancient story of Saint Sophia, which is the Greek word for wisdom, who has 3 daughters, and her 3 daughters are called Faith, Love, and Hope. And I have a picture here which shows Sophia with her 3 daughters. So these are 3 siblings, and they are obviously very closely related. So they very much belong together. They're from the same family, and I think it's the same with faith, love, and hope in our inner garden. But coming back to hope, I feel in these current weeks and months we're all having to meet feelings of uncertainty around the future. We're all having to face the unknown. And this is where the 3 daughters of Sophia, Faith, Love, and Hope, they can really help us. So instead of filling this future space with fear or anxiety, which is perhaps the more natural tendency, hope really invites us to hold a space open for an unknown future, and instead to fill this space with trust, with faith that there is a greater wisdom at work, and maybe with love for the values that are dear to me. And I think hope is also about letting go and handing over to a guidance that is perhaps at times beyond my comprehension. I know in my own life that I have hoped for things in the past that didn't come true, and retrospectively I know I'm glad that they didn't come true. So there is also something about letting go of my own personal wishes, of what I think should happen. So fortunately, we've all been given a basic toolkit when we arrive in this world, and one of them is hope, alongside faith and love. So to know that we're all born with essential hopefulness with which we can water our soil, maybe is a good thing to remember. And today I've brought brought my watering can, and I'm going to put some hope, some very potent drops of hope into this watering can. And here's my first drop of hope. And this drop says that hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. My second drop of hope, it says, hope is the little voice that says maybe when the whole world shouts no. And another drop of hope, and this is one of my favorite drops. And this one says that hope is not optimism, which expects things to turn out well, but something that is rooted in the conviction that there is good worth working for. So these 3 drops of hope have gone into my watering can, and I shall water my inner soil with them. And also this little watering can has got an anchor on the front, and you may know that the anchor is the symbol for hope. So, and I think it can be a really helpful image to see how hope really anchors me in my inner soil. It gives me a sense of trust and that there is guidance that I can rely on. So now we come to the practice. How do I practice hopefulness? So I would like to offer 3 ways of bringing hopefulness into your week this week. And the first thing I suggest we do is that we're going to put up a scarecrow. So I'm going to put this scarecrow into my inner garden, into my mind, and this scarecrow is going to help me to keep at bay all negative and critical thoughts about myself, about others, and about the world. So scarecrow will help me just to become much more aware of my thoughts and feelings. And instead, I want to start practicing focusing on what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful. And there is one inner gardener's rule which is really important to remember, and that is whatever I focus on grows. So the more I occupy my mind with negative and bad things that have happened, the stronger roots these things take in my inner world. But with the scarecrow, I'm going to keep these at bay, and I'm going to make an effort every day to take a few minutes and to really focus on what was beautiful, what was true, or what was good about my day. And whenever I find something, I dwell on it for a little while and really allow it to take root in my soil. So this is the first practice. The second one is just reminding yourself of the importance of hope, perhaps just by reading over the quotes that I've included today, that I've shared, or maybe find your own. There's something about repeating things that are important, repeating things that matter to me, so that again, that they can also be more anchored in my awareness. And the third practice is breath work again. So I would like to include this because it's such a simple and accessible tool that can be really helpful. And this time I would like to invite you to take again a few minutes a day to breathe really deeply and slowly into your lower abdomen. And then on your out breath, imagining that you are letting your anchor sink slowly down into your deepest self, and it's securing you in your inner ground. And then when you feel this anchor, when you feel anchored in yourself, just remind yourself of the love that you have for human values and the trust that you have in the guidance of a greater wisdom. And as I'm picturing this anchor holding me steady in myself, I may just say to myself inwardly, I trust in the guidance of a greater wisdom. Or I might like to say that my love for human values is making me strong. And you might find your own words that just feel just right for you, so feel free to make these practices your own. And I hope that you will have a good week, and I hope to see you next time. Plant your rose straight and long, temper them with prayer and